How's it going, y'all? This is Maes with another episode of Maes Method Mondays. Last week we talked about the human figure. I showed you how the proportions break down in terms of your whole body, your face, your hands, your feet. And this week I'm going to be teaching you about different poses and anatomy so you can actually put those figures into action. Alright, let's get into it. Haha! JK, I'm not going to do that just because this is a professional video and I'd rather just draw it for you. So I've divided this up into the skeletal and muscular systems. So this is your inner hand here. It's your hand muscles, is what's underneath, and these run between the bones that come out of your wrist bones here, which you can see that I've drawn in black here. You can see that's the back side of the right hand, and this is the back side of the right hand, the skeletal system. And usually I would differentiate between male and female body parts, but for our purposes I'm just using the female body right now, because there's kind of a lot to go through, and really the muscles are pretty much all in the same places. If you haven't seen the previous video on the human figure breakdown, I highly recommend you go and check that out, because that's going to give more of an overview on the different body proportions between male and female, and you can use that to apply to the figure here. Now, if you want to go super duper deep into anatomy, that's totally possible. I'm trying to keep it to the level that is going to be applicable to drawing, so it's much that I can relate to you that's useful, that is not too overwhelming. I'm going to stay within that median. Okay? So, start with the skeletal side here. You've got your ribs. You have 12 rib bones that go into your sternum here. That's this bone in the center. And then you have 2 floating ribs at the bottom. And you have 3 different sets of vertebrae. You've got your lumbar vertebrae, which is your lower back that comes up from your pelvis here, and that goes up to the thoracic vertebrae. The name of that is really easy to remember because it's your thorax. It's your thorax bones. And then the last set, which connects from your thoracic vertebrae up to your skull, are your cervical vertebrae. And you can see this from the side here as well, how these break down here. Then you have the pelvis. Of course, women typically have wider pelvis than you guys. And here you've got your femur, that's your upper leg bone, and your tibia, it's your front leg bone here, comes in the front, it's more inside, and then your fibula, which comes at the back. So just as you have 2 lower arm bones, you also have 2 lower leg bones too. Okay, so then on this side you've got your deltoids. So you've got 3 different parts to your deltoids. You have your anterior median, and posterior, which just means front, middle, and back. And those connect in between here. Your bicep is in front, right? This is your bicep. And then the triceps are at the back. Those connect at the back. And your deltoids actually connect in between those. So that allows you a nice junction so that you can move your arm. You have mobility to rotate your arm, to move your arm from right here, your shoulder. That's like your crux, your muscular crux. It also, of course, connects to your scapula, right? And now you've got your lower, you've got your leg bones here, your upper leg, excuse me. So these are your quadriceps. So when you say when you're going up like this, you're using this type of motion, or you're pushing something, right? Like that. Then that's really working your quadriceps. And then these are your lower leg muscles. This is your back. This is your hamstrings. These are your calves. And your glutes at the back here. And I've also drawn these closer here. This is the front leg. This would be like your front right leg. This would be the back of that right leg. Then I've got your skeletal foot bones right here. And the same foot right here with your muscles. So foot muscles, basically how those work is the same way that you have these bones that come out of your wrist towards your fingers. You also have those in sort of a descending order with your feet. It starts, at the highest and then kind of tapers down like that sort of thing. Then you've got three little carpal bones come off of there. And yeah, your muscles basically do this kind of crisscross thing from your upper foot. So you start up here, then go like that. They kind of cross over to the next one like that sort of way. Then I've also divided the head into the skull side and the muscular side, and I have done the muscles on top of the skeleton right here. Is your mandible, is your jaw, and then this is your upper skull right here. So your cheekbone is right here. This basically connects to the back. This connects to basically where your jaw is, basically it's the back where your jaw is. And that little cavity right there, that little hole, is how you're able to hear. That's where your ear leads into. And yeah, you've actually got eye muscles, your occipital muscles there. You have these muscles that cross over from your upper skull to your mandible, right? So you can move your jaw up and down so you can chew. You have that ability to eat things. Open your mouth, talk. And you can see these right here as well. You've got this sort of rounded band here of muscles that goes. It's basically like this region. You've got these muscles that go up here, that connects from down here up to the top of your cheek. And then these ones is your jaw. And to the side here, your ribs, are these muscles that go over those, your sagittal muscles, sartorius muscles. Or this is the, this is the side position, this is your sartorius. Let's go from your ribs back here. And you have your latissimus dorsi here, or your lats for short. And so those allow you to like pull this type of motion, to to pull things down to you, right? So I'm sure any of you have been to the, whenever you've like worked out, you've been to the gym, you see somebody doing the wide lat pull down, they're sitting down, or when you're doing pull-ups, that's working your lats. So they look like wings. They look like a set of wings, right? And then you have your trapezius here. That really starts from a little bit below the top of the lats here and goes up here, up past your deltoids, connects to your deltoids, and actually goes around to the front here. This goes around to your clavicle. Then you've got your neck muscles here. So you've got a set of muscles that go up to the side like this, and then muscles in the middle, these bands that kind of go down to your sternum up to your jaw. So this may seem like a lot right now, a lot to take in, but really what we're trying to get at is the impressions that they leave on your body, with skin on top, with poses, and just the more that you study, the more that you watch people. That sounds creepy. Don't be people watching too much unless you're weird like that and they don't notice. Anyways, if you look at how people's bodies are in motion, just watch runners, watch people running, watch people lifting when you go to the gym, and start to notice these different muscles. And it helps to really know what to look for, which is why you really can't have figure drawing without knowledge of anatomy or studying anatomy. There's just simply no two ways about it. So now you have a base understanding of anatomy, and I'm going to move on to putting got a few different poses here. So what I'm going to do is, I drew this dividing up the muscles here. I'm going to show each one of these poses and kind of describe to you what's going on, how muscles work, how they expand and contract in these different poses. So for this person here, get the arms spread wide open, the view from the back. So it's a very expanded pose. With the lats, since they're like wings, that's really the best way to think of them, as like wings, because when your arms go out, they expand, they stretch out. So get the lats expanded out here. Now what happens with muscles is when something expands, usually other groups contract too. They counterbalance each other. That's really the system of how these things work, and how you're able to maintain your balance, your equilibrium, and to stay fluid, because they balance each other out. So what's happening here, while the lats are expanding, the scapulas are closing inward. They're closing, they're bunching in. Now, if you ever seen someone's like a muscular person's back from that pose, like when they're doing a lat pull down, or they have their arms expanded and this, you can just see their back. You can usually see these muscles right here, and it's really cool looking. It's really, pretty buff. It's pretty badass. And you have the shoulders up here, the deltoids. Those raise up. You can see the tricep from back here. And the forearm muscles. Now, the forearm muscles are interesting because when they're like this, you're in your natural pose. They're basically straight. They're in their natural alignment, but you can twist your arms. You can twist your forearms. So what happens is these muscles cross over like this to your wrist. So you get this definition right here. You can't really see that right here. You're just seeing this in the back. These are the arms in their natural forward alignment. The same as this pose right here. And not too much going on with the leg muscles, the glutes in the back. But over in this pose, so that counterbalance really comes into play, because these are stretched out here, like your upper and lower leg muscles here. This is a long pose. That's an elongated pose, right? They're stretched out. Whereas this leg, the muscles are tightening up. They're contracting right here. So I gave that line for definition right here. Your calves. I'll even define this one a little bit more. Fun fact, your calf muscles are the strongest muscles in your whole body for one reason. Because you think about it, you're walking around all day, you're holding your whole body up. They're basically suspending your whole entire body. So you could walk, you could run naturally, so they're very, very tight. If you ever, touched or seen, runners' calves and calf muscles, they're hard as rocks. They're like stale old bread. They're meant to be really tight. So then again, we see this swinging motion too, because when you're running, it's not just your legs; it's your upper body and your arms in motion as well. So you're in this pose. That scapula right here, that's hunched back like this, and that is switching on and off like this as you're running, right? So this arm, so this is expanded, that lat is elongated like that again. You have these muscles, you have the biceps a little bit contracting, and yeah, the walk or run pose is really, I think, the best way to see that that interplay of expanding and contracting muscles on opposite sides. Over here we got this person laying down, and there's a little bit of a crossover here, So we see the lats going to the back like this as these cross over, and the lats, the way that those expand, the way that those work with the arms, they actually connect underneath your armpit like this. They go under there. And here we have these muscles. These are contracted, biceps, this forearm, and then this one is more stretched out. This leg is also contracted this leg is expanded. And you can really tell the difference too in definition between different people, different body types, basically different levels of muscle to fat ratio, you know. So these different definitions aren't always going to be totally obvious. So when someone is, you know, super duper toned, then they're going to be a lot more obvious. They're going to stand out a lot more. We got this person in the frog pose, obviously contracted right there. The arms expanded, stretched out. The pec muscles are kind of closed in this pose. Kind of emphasize that a little bit more. Right. And usually, even when someone is really defined, unless you have like super toned abs, when you're in this type of pose, you're bent over, then you're going to see some wrinkles. It's natural to see wrinkles on people in that kind of pose, right? You got this person cross their arms like this, you know, so this kind of thing, and you can really see that forearm crossover like that, as well as the side of the arm, that definition. The pec muscles are contracted as well, and not too much going on down here with the abs, the lower torso, the core, you know. We've got this finger pointing, the deltoid at the end here is connecting in between the bicep and the tricep. There's also another muscle, a thin band between the bicep and the tricep that you can see at the back. It's called your coracobrachialis. That connects from your elbow back to the, it's called your coracoid process on your scapula. And usually that's, you know, if you want to develop that, you know, like biceps and triceps are pretty straightforward, but that one really gets defined from like side movements like this. So if if you're lifting, you got your free weight like this, you cross over like that. That's a really good exercise for that one. Like the cable crossover, that one, it makes your arm wider. It makes your, you know, gives you width, right? Anyways, we got the forearm muscles over here. Again, this is twisting over. This is a good pose to see where the pec, the lats connect right here. You got the bicep right here. And you can just see the bottom of the tricep here, or the tricep at the bottom here, excuse me. And here the forearm muscles are pretty straightforward, you know, like they're bunched up down here, but they kind of taper towards the arm. Then the deltoid, of course. And this pose, you can really see the expansion of the lats right here as this person is getting into a position very vulnerable to be tickled. Don't tickle someone when they're like that, it's mean. Bunch up the trapezoids right there. So this is expanding. The lats are expanding. This is contracting. Right? Expanding, contracting. And the scapula, again, is swinging out this way. Since the arm is going up like this, you've got the deltoid, you see the tricep from the back here, and the forearm pose, or the forearm muscles right here. So these are also in their natural alignment from the back here. And then the hand muscles. Now I've left the faces and heads blank right now, not because I can't or don't want to draw faces. I just don't want you to get distracted with that. Like, this is really very much about the poses this time. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a pose and break down my thought process as I'm putting it together. And guess what? I know I gave you some crap about stick figures in the last video, but guess what? They're actually useful. Just don't use them as a crutch. You know? Watch. I'll show you what I mean. So we've got the torso right here. I'm going to draw this person kneeling. It's going to lean some weight on the side here. You're going to have this leg up like this. And I think I'm going to have this hand, this arm, coming down like this. Just kind of casually draping over this leg. Get the underside, the hamstrings down like that. You can barely see them from the back. Again, the contraction of those lats. Now with the feet in this pose, you don't really want to overthink it. So this is going to connect up here, your heel. It's going to almost touch the back of your hamstrings. Going to widen out this leg a little bit. Okay. Gonna have this person bracing on this hand back here. And I want you to check out the kinetics of this pose too. That's what poses are all about, kinetics. They're all about the balance, push and pull, gravity. So you got the leg going like this. See how fluid that line is? Boom, like that. Boom. don't mind getting my hands dirty. Gonna go wash them anyways. Okay, so now we got the basic pose here. Got the outside. So now I'm gonna fill that in with some muscle. So now I'm actually gonna erase those lines I just made. Just gonna erase these inner lines here. Those are just to demonstrate the kinetics. So, crap. All right. Gotta build that back again. Okay. So now we got chest right here. Pecs. Now this is really useful to do for yourself too while you're creating these poses. Actually think out to yourself, oh, the pecs connect right here, right where the scapula ends at this border here. You can't really see the lats too much in this pose. You're drawing the abs. Boom, boom, boom. Adding those muscles, side muscles, shoulder. Remember the clavicle. Clavicle's important because the traps connect at the front there, the deltoids on the side. Boom, boom, like that. You can see the biceps from the front here. And remember, the arm is hanging down, so we get a little bit of that twist. A little bit of that twist. If you ever get confused, you are your most immediate model, right? So if you ever get confused on a pose, try it on yourself and see what makes sense. Oh, this is coming from here, right? It's coming from the elbow. Boom, like that. Comes from the back. This bicep. Okay, so we got that arm going out again, whoosh, like that. So it comes from the outside of the arm, like that. Boom. All right. We got the inside here. This isn't really contracted all that much. I'm going to draw the feet. Remember those kind of crisscross over that way. Boom, like that. You can kind of see that contraction going on right there. And then of course, boom. Got some nice quadricep contraction action going there. Filling those abs a little bit. And boom! There we go. So yeah, resting the weight on this leg and this arm here, and this is a really good solid support leg right here, and this arm is just resting on this leg, so it all balances out. hope you got a lot out of this video. Anatomy can be very confusing, intimidating for a lot of new artists, but the human body is so fascinating, it is so interesting, and just amazing to learn about. So, the next video, I'm going to teach you about faces, facial expressions, different kinds of eyes, different kinds of facial features. So, I'll see you then. Thank you for watching. This is Maes with Quantum Keyhole Studio, wishing you Godspeed.